The Fallout series started with very humble beginnings, a small game from a modest team being developed in the 1990s, but it has become something of a corporate Goliath. Almost everybody knows what Fallout is, and those that don't kind of understand the concept from what they've heard out in the ether. What's more important is Fallout will have certainly a lot more fans coming up pretty soon when it releases its first television show based in its universe. This is going to bring a whole lot of new fans into the IP, and people that might not play video games may now start to see the Fallout universe and experience and love it the same way the fans of the games do. The original Fallout and Fallout 2 are still some of my favorite games to experience. Of course, Bethesda would acquire the license, and the games that followed were still pretty amazing. Obsidian making Fallout New Vegas, and that's probably one of my favorite of the series. Of course, Fallout 4 brings it into a whole nother world when it comes to gameplay. I think Fallout 4 really captured the best gameplay that we can find in the Fallout series, and I'm not just talking about the loop where you go somewhere, you collect junk, and you bring it back to your settlement to build things. I'm just talking about the actual gameplay mechanics. I think the gun work is the best in Fallout 4, and I think there's a lot of solid foundation to build some really good moments in that engine. The latest game in this series is Fallout 76, and it has been getting pretty regular updates since its launch. Of course, it has been improving as well. We all know that there was a disastrous launch with Fallout 76, but by most reports, the game is much more playable today and much more enjoyable today than it was a couple of years ago. With the first ever Fallout episodic series on the horizon, and with Fallout 76 getting such frequent updates, what is the future of the Fallout series? And that's something I want to touch on in this video today. Starting with Fallout 76, it may be easy to look at the game getting frequent updates and think, well, you're being drip-fed Fallout content, and you will be for the foreseeable future, so what's the problem? Now, we could dwell on the fact that a lot of the fan base of the Fallout series is not that fond of Fallout 76. To a lot of us, the live service game does not feel like you're playing a Fallout game. It doesn't give you that same kind of experience. However, there are a plethora of people that enjoy playing Fallout 76. They like playing it every day, they love doing the challenges, they like the updates they're getting, they like the atomic shop, they like the items offered, they love the game. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you enjoy playing Fallout 76, more power to you. I'm glad you found some entertainment in that. A lot of the times when I talk to people, the entertainment that they find in Fallout 76 comes from the people that they're playing it with. It's not necessarily the quests that they've done or the memories that they've got from doing an event or something like that just based on the event. It's more of the stuff that they started doing themselves. Regardless, fun is fun, and if you're having fun in Fallout 76, that's awesome. But even if you are a big fan of Fallout 76, you can't ignore the fact that a large portion of the Fallout fanbase doesn't like the game. They don't play it daily. They might jump on every once in a while. That's the more soft people, the people that don't just hate it outright. But still, there's a lot of people that aren't too keen on the game itself. These days, I think it's kind of cold to say that Bethesda doesn't notice or care about that. They more than certainly have noticed it, because Todd Howard himself has given apologies for Fallout 76's launch. But to say they don't care, I think, is partially true and partially not true. I think Bethesda sees good feedback from the people that enjoy Fallout 76, and they know that they are making the money that they want to from that project. I know that they also see people not enjoying it, but I don't think that they don't, quote, care about that. I think it's more that this is the project that they're working on, and they don't have the time or resources to really start another Fallout project, and might not even see the significance of that when it comes to the fact that they have this live service game, and to them, that's what the Fallout content is right now. Currently, the Fallout 76 community calendar goes to June 2023. At the time of this recording, right now, we are in the Mothman Equinox, which ends in just about a week. In June, we will see the 16th major update to Fallout 76, Once in a Blue Moon. This promises to add a couple of cryptids and a plethora of quests in a couple of locations, the same things you would expect from a major update to this live service game. So far, that's the only information we have about Fallout 76 updates. Of course, there are rumors and speculation about what's coming next, and everybody pretty much assumes that there will be more updates. There isn't any signs that they're going to stop, but that's all we have confirmed so far. Speaking of rumors and speculation, the Fallout television series that's going to be streaming on Amazon is definitely rife with those, but we've seen photographic evidence of the sets, but also of different characters. One of the major things to look at is we've seen sets that seem to be from different parts of the wasteland. Looks like some are in New California or in that area, while some are on the East Coast, with different branding and things that are more specific to that area. I remain cautiously optimistic about the Fallout series. The Fallout universe itself is something that I think will be wonderful to explore inside of an episodic TV series or even a movie, but I think this is a really good way to go with it. As of right now, I have no reason to believe it's going to be poorly written or produced. So again, I remain optimistic about the Fallout series, and we'll just have to wait and see what comes out of this new story that they're going to bring. Maybe they're not even telling a new story, maybe they're just kind of showcasing things that have happened in the series past, but I imagine these are going to be original stories inside of the universe of Fallout. When talking about the future of the Fallout series, it would be silly to ignore the fact that Obsidian, as well as some other companies under the Microsoft umbrella, have expressed interest in doing another Fallout game. While I don't think this is impossible, I do think that it's highly unlikely. Todd Howard has been on record of saying that he isn't really keen on the idea of letting others work on the Fallout IP again, but never say never. A lot of people think that because Microsoft owns Bethesda and also Obsidian, and they're all under the same umbrella, that Microsoft could flex and be like, well, they're going to make a Fallout game because you don't have any plans for the next 2 decades, more than likely. So let's have them make a little crack at it. But Microsoft is notoriously hands-off with their studios. I've talked to a couple of devs, and they've said the same thing. Microsoft isn't really the company that comes in and says, hey, you need to do this with what you're doing with your games. They buy these studios because they like the projects that they work on, and they want them to work with the same synergy that they've been working with before. Not to mention, anyone who would be brought up in the conversation of making a new Fallout game is incredibly busy right now. Obsidian has multiple games on deck that they are releasing, and Bethesda has major releases like Starfield and the Elder Scrolls 6 that they're worrying about. Speaking of Starfield and the Elder Scrolls 6, they are likely why we won't see another Fallout game for quite some time. This, of course, is taking into the account that Obsidian is busy and likely won't have a chance to take another crack at a Fallout game. Again, I don't think it's impossible. Maybe 5 years down the line, we start to see some kind of production. But again, 5 years down the line, we might see some production from a different studio on a Fallout game. But again, that game could take 4, 5, 6, you know the deal, 7 years, almost a decade. These games take a really long time to make. So even in the best case scenario, where Obsidian would be granted to work on another side project for the Fallout series, we likely wouldn't see that for another decade. Using that information and applying it to Bethesda, we have Starfield coming out in September. So we know that Starfield is going to be released, but again, this game is going to need upkeep, it's going to need patches, there's likely going to be DLC. As far as we know, it's a single player experience, much like Skyrim, much like Fallout 4. So we can expect a bit of what the gameplay is going to be, but you never really know what their plan is. What are the microtransaction situations? What are the DLC situations? We don't really know that yet, and we might not until the game gets very close to launch. But regardless of that, what we have is promised a single player experience in a new universe. This is going to be a huge game that's going to take a lot of upkeep, and it's going to take a lot of resource and time from Bethesda to do so. Post Starfield, we have the Elder Scrolls 6 confirmed. That is, as far as we know, is going to be the next project that's released from Bethesda. The Elder Scrolls games, I don't need to tell you, take an incredible amount of time to finish, to complete, to polish. Look at Skyrim. And Todd really didn't want to do that project unless it could be better than Skyrim, bigger than Skyrim, more expansive than Skyrim. So I imagine that the Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be kind of like Todd's going out party, Well, we know that he's, you know, getting up there in age to the point where he's almost at retirement age. And if we're looking at, you know, 10 years down the line, when Elder Scrolls 6 will probably, you know, start to get its launch, I'm just assuming based on their cycle before, perhaps it could be expedited with the way things are worked on now. But I assume that the Elder Scrolls 6 will take another at least 8 years to work on. And so by the time that comes out, Todd Howard will be approaching, you know, retirement age and probably looking at that. This may be the game that he's going off on. But I've talked a lot on the channel and in Twitter posts about how long I think it's going to take until we see another Fallout game. So we don't need to touch on the fact that, you know, we don't need to talk about it in length, that it's going to probably be another 10, 15 years, because they said that they have Fallout 5, quote, on paper, meaning that they want to do it and they have a base idea of what they want to do. But they have it on paper when they have these other two games, Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6, in the works. So I imagine, again, you know, we're looking at 10, 15 years before we even see a hint of Fallout 5. If it were up to me, I would love to see another studio like Obsidian take a crack at a Fallout side game featured in New Orleans. I think New Orleans would be a perfect spot for the Fallout universe, and I've always been pushing for that. Fallout New Orleans, I want to see it. But of course, that's a pipe dream. I just wanted to tell you guys, if it were up to me, what I would see in the future of the Fallout series would be 5 years from now, we'd start to hear about Fallout New Orleans and it'd be about half done, and then maybe 7 years from now it'd be released. For people that are looking for new Fallout content that's going to be in video game form but is not Fallout 76, honestly, again, it's been the modders to the rescue. We have a few Fallout mods that are coming out that promise to be amazing. DLC-sized mods, game-sized mods that host stories and try to be lore-friendly, and it's really, we're going to be eating very good in like the Fallout 4 modding community coming up here pretty soon. And I do want to just mention a few of them that I personally am excited about and that I think you should look more into. They are real projects. Sometimes you may see a mod and it may sound too good to be true, and sometimes it is, but any of the ones that I mentioned here, I know for certain are actually being worked on, or people are actually putting time into, and I think they're going to be pretty good. So I do want to mention them because I think that is the future of Fallout moving forward, is these Fallout 4 mods, and of course New Vegas and Fallout 3 to a lesser extent. Just Fallout 4 is getting these major mods that are coming up that are, you know, these game-sized mods. But I think that's more of the future of the Fallout series in video game form than really the updates in Fallout 76. Again, a lot of people like 76, enjoy it, have a good time. I'm just saying, for the people who are not looking for that experience, who are looking for the more classic Fallout vibe, we're going to be getting these cool new mods. So let's take a look at just a couple of them. Again, I'm not going to go super in depth here, but I do want to give like a little basic structural, like, oh hey, here's this mod, here's what it's about. First, I want to talk about the one I'm most excited for, the one out of the two mods I'm going to bring up that I think is going to really just knock everybody's socks off, and that's Fallout London. It's a total conversion mod of Fallout 4 that brings you into London, has entirely new factions, entirely new locations, new guns, clothes, everything you can think of. It's all been, you know, put under this London filter, and I'm just really excited to see somebody take Fallout and put it into another country, another setting that isn't the United States. I've been kind of against that in the past, where I've talked about saying I don't see that really working in a Fallout game because of the traditional Americana that gets mixed in with the vibe of the games. I feel like that's kind of needed for it to feel like a Fallout game. But Fallout London, when I saw how they were working on it, when I saw what they were doing with it, proved everything I've ever thought about that wrong, and it made me completely excited for this project. I'm so excited to check out Fallout London. I've done videos on it in the past, and I will do videos on it in the future when we actually get close to release with that bad boy. I'm very excited for Fallout London. I can't say it enough. So definitely go check that out. They have Fallout4London.com that you can go see. They have a Discord. Check it out if you haven't really looked into it, because I'm telling you, Fallout London is going to be the thing that you like. That's going to feel, to me, the most like new content in the Fallout world when it comes to a video game, because you're pretty much getting Fallout 4 in a different setting. Like it's bigger than the DLCs. Let's put it this way: Bethesda's hired multiple people from their team based on the work that they're doing in this mod. So it's probably going to be pretty good if you have actual industry professionals that work in the actual IP snatching up your employees because of how good their work is. The next big mod that I'm really looking forward to, and the last one I'll be talking about, is Fallout Miami, which is another DLC-sized mod for Fallout 4 with an all-original setting. This is going to take place obviously in Miami, and the colors and vibe of this entire mod, just the whole tone of this thing, I love it. And I feel like it's really going to change up when you're playing Fallout 4, you switch over to this mod. I feel like you are actually going to feel like you're playing a different game. Of course, it's going to be Fallout 4. Of course, you're going to have the same mechanics and the same basic graphics and things of that nature. But I just mean the general tone. It's going to feel like an actually different location, much like London will as well. Of course, all the new creatures. My favorite being the flamingo. I'm very excited about Fallout Miami. I think that's another place that's just a terrific setting for the Fallout universe, and I believe this team is working hard on it as well. So I'm just excited to see what these super creative people that are putting all this time into these modifications, what they are going to bring to the table, you know, for fans, for pretty much for free, you know what I mean? So it's really cool that these people go out of their way to still create content in the Fallout universe and allow us to experience these games more and more each time they create something. It's really awesome, man. It's kind of magical that we're able to keep these games alive by playing these mods and experiencing these games through different lenses of different people from different places, and just it's really cool. And Fallout Miami, I think, really represents that. I'm very excited for it, and I think you should be too. Check it out at falloutmiami.com or you know, their Discord, anywhere that you like to chit chat about things. They got a profile just like Fallout London, Twitter, you know, check them out. You're not going to regret it if you haven't seen the project yet. It's going to be a doozy. These mods, including the ones that are being worked on for the rest of the Fallout series, like Fallout, Fallout 2, Fallout 3, New Vegas, 4, all of these mods that are being worked on, and especially these two that I mentioned, I think they are the future of the Fallout series right now. While I'm not saying that it's going to be ignored, of course, it's not being ignored at all. You have Fallout 76 that's getting regular updates, and you have the Fallout television series coming to Amazon. So I don't feel like the IP is being ignored, but I do think that they are using those things because they know that they're not going to be able to put Fallout 5 into production for quite some time. So I believe that these mods are giving us chunks of stories and experiences pretty much for free if we already have Fallout 4 or Fallout New Vegas, because there's some that are going to be on Fallout New Vegas as well that look pretty amazing. But if you have those games and you get these mods, you're going to be experiencing a totally new game in the Fallout universe. And I think that is not, of course it's not official, but these the two that I mentioned, London and Miami, are about as close to official as you're going to get, especially London. Again, I haven't talked much to the Miami team. I haven't been as involved in the production, you know, like when Fallout London was launching and when they first had their stuff together, they came to me and we talked, and I made a video with them and interviewed them and all kinds of stuff. So I actually got a pretty good experience and kind of like a good idea of what they were going to be doing with the mod, because I was able to talk to them directly and ask them direct questions. And then you see a lot of their team members getting employed by Bethesda. So to me, I feel like Fallout London is going to be the most official, unofficial thing that's ever existed in the Fallout series, and Miami will probably be not too far behind it. So that is my advice to players who are looking for more Fallout experiences, but are kind of waiting for Fallout 5, and maybe they don't like 76, and maybe they did like 76 and they don't play it as much anymore because they lost interest. Whatever the case may be, really look towards the modding scene. We have those big projects coming out, but there's always something cool around the corner that you can find, whether it's a story mod, a location mod. This is the future of the Fallout series for the next decade, for sure. They're like, for the next 10 years, the modding scene is going to be holding up the Fallout series, and by the looks of it, it's going to be a fantastic ride. They're going to do a wonderful job at it. So thank you for listening to me ramble about the Fallout series once again. I want to thank you all for checking out the channel, checking out the videos. 200,000 subscribers, I couldn't believe it. Thank you all so much for everything, and I hope to see you on the next one. It has been Mantis.